When I tell y'all they trying to take all the American people rights, y'all got to pay attention. This election that's coming up is very important, y'all. Here it is now. They weighing on banning the homeless in your cities and towns, whereas though they can find you, even lock you up. But yet these migrants and immigrants can cross the border, get housing, medical, shelter, food, with no questions. But yet the American people that been here forever, that's homeless and starving and hungry, they weighing on a bill in the court to lock them up, even fine them. That's crazy, y'all. Y'all gotta pay attention, y'all. These little small bills they passing, and y'all not even paying attention because they bamboozling y'all with foolishness. Let's get into this video, y'all.
In America is front and center at the Supreme Court today. The High Court will hear arguments in a landmark case focusing on whether or not cities can issue tickets or even jail people who are sleeping in public places. News Nation's Tom Dempsey is at the Supreme Court this morning for us. Tom, homelessness is a huge issue across the country. Just how pivotal could today's case be?
Hey, good morning, Marky. Well, this is one of the biggest legal cases ever dealing with homelessness here at the Supreme Court. And in just a few hours, justices will be hearing opening arguments for all of this. This all revolves around a city ordinance that supporters say helps the area deal with growing encampments that they describe as being unsafe. But opponents of it all say this serves as cruel and unusual punishment. The whole case stems out of Grants Pass, Oregon, and it revolves around an ordinance put in place by leaders there barring camping on public property and prohibiting homeless people from using blankets, pillows, and cardboard boxes while sleeping within city limits. At first, violators can face fines, but serial offenders can face possible jail time. Now, data from the U.S. Housing and Urban Development Department show on a single average night last year, over 650,000 people experienced homelessness. And to put that in perspective, that marked the highest number of homeless people reported since HUD began reporting the data all the way back in 2007. 4 out of 10 people without a home experienced unsheltered homelessness, meaning they were sleeping on the streets. In a filing to the Supreme Court, though, the city of Grants Pass wrote, quote, "Neither the civil fines imposed by petitioner Grants Pass nor short jail terms for serial violators are cruel and unusual." But one of the people who challenged this ordinance also wrote to the court, quote, "Because there are no homeless shelters in Grants Pass and the 2 privately operated housing programs in town serve only a small fraction of the city's homeless population, most of the city's involuntary homeless residents have nowhere to sleep but outside." We expect a decision to come down in this case possibly by June of this year. But to put the importance of this case in perspective, Marky, whatever the justices end up deciding could impact similar ordinances in cities all across the country. Marky?
Yeah, cities everywhere watching for what this final ruling is going to be and the ripple effects that could come with it. Tom Dempsey, thanks so much.
It's another video here, y'all. How many of y'all know they just passed the spying bill for another 2 years? So, big brother in the sky gonna always be here, brothers and sisters. I'm telling you, your rights are being snatched right underneath your face without y'all even knowing, because y'all being distracted with foolishness. Now, how many of y'all know about the spying bill? That's just another bill to spy on the American people, y'all. Y'all got to pay attention. What's going on with this goddamn administration? What they cramming down the people's neck before election time.
Requested. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.
A 5-minute vote.
On this vote, the yeas are 213, the nays are 208. The resolution is adopted.
The First Amendment protects freedoms of speech, press, religion, assembly, and petition. This sounds straightforward, but the First Amendment is still the subject of continuing interpretation and dispute. So let's look at the freedom of speech, which gives Americans the right to express themselves without fear of government interference. There are a number of categories of unprotected speech, including obscenity, true threats, incitement to imminent lawless action, and defamation. But deciding what speech falls within these categories is difficult. In reaching these determinations, courts often look at speech on a case-by-case basis and consider the context in which the speech was made. For instance, political speech, support or opposition of political figures, parties, and/or policies, enjoys stronger First Amendment protection. If speech is political in nature, no matter how outrageous and offensive it might be, it may still be protected by the First Amendment. So, yeah, this gets complicated. The First Amendment protects you from government punishment for what you say in most instances. However, the First Amendment is not unlimited. It protects you from government action, not the action of private organizations or people. Unless you're employed by the government, complaining about your boss could get you fired. Similarly, since social media websites are for the most part private entities, they're the only ones who can police posts on their respective sites. Similar to freedom of speech, freedom of the press allows people to express themselves through publication. This important freedom enables our journalists and reporters to freely report news and stories of public interest. But this also comes with some limitations. For instance, defamatory statements are not protected. Again, though, what constitutes defamation also requires a fact-intensive investigation. In addition, the First Amendment protects our right to peacefully assemble or gather together as a group for like-minded social, economic, political, or religious purposes. The First Amendment also protects our right to protest the government. We are free to sign petitions or even file a lawsuit against the government as well. And lastly, in guaranteeing the freedom of religion, the First Amendment prohibits the government from establishing a state religion or from favoring one religion over the other.
President Biden has said if it does get to the Senate and is passed, he will sign it into law. But TikTok has really lobbied hard for this not to happen. It's mobilized its 170 million US users to really ring up their local representatives, telling them not to do this. And despite that, this has still gone through the House. There's also some confusion over here as well. President Biden wants it banned. He's already banned it for his federal employees from using it on their mobile phones. But his election campaign has started using TikTok and posting on it. Former President Donald Trump spearheaded the whole movement to ban TikTok. Recently, he flip-flopped on it, saying, well, actually, it's difficult to ban it. So I think there's a sense that they both know, obviously, we're now into the general election campaign season, that they're going to alienate lots of young voters, millions and millions of teenagers who use TikTok. But as I mentioned, this is not the end of it. The next step would be the Senate.
The show here. Just wanted to share some thoughts with our US users about the disappointing vote in the House of Representatives. There has been a lot of misinformation, and I hope to clarify some things. First, thank you to our incredible community. You are what makes TikTok so special. Thank you for making your voices heard. Over the last few years, we have invested to keep your data safe and our platform free from outside manipulation. We have committed that we will continue to do so. This legislation, if signed into law, will lead to a ban of TikTok in the United States. Even the bill sponsors admit that that's their goal. This bill gives more power to a handful of other social media companies. It will also take billions of dollars out of the pockets of creators and small businesses. It will put more than 300,000 American jobs at risk, and it will take away your TikTok.